Hello, my name is Billy Nash, and I will be doing a Microsoft Excel tutorial video today on pivot tables. Pivot table is a tool within Microsoft Excel to help one organize and manipulate large sets of data into more useful, useful ways and to get better information out of sets of data, as well as being a more efficient way of doing it too, rather than trying to go through a large spreadsheet like this one, which is an order summary of a superstore, which goes down for thousands of lines. So for large data sets like this, pivot tables are an easy tool that people can use to help arrange this data into more useful ways. So to begin a pivot table, we would go up here and click Insert, which I already have, and then we'll here click Pivot Table. There's also recommended pivot tables, which are pivot tables that Excel recommends just based on the data you have. I'm not positive how it comes up with those pivot tables, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we will just be clicking on pivot table and creating our own. So we'll click pivot table, and now it'll give us this screen, create a pivot table, and we're going to choose our table or data range. And then for that, it's going to be this entire orders worksheet, and it's already outlined it, as you can see here. And so we'll click OK, and as well, this will open it up on a new worksheet. So we'll click OK. And now it brings us to this new worksheet, and we have our pivot table builder. So where to go from here? Here we have column, we have these 4 boxes which we'll use to manipulate this data. And now here in the values one, we'll put values in there, things with numbers in them. In columns and rows, we can use for ways of organizing things such as and up here we have our field names as well, which were across the top on our orders worksheet. But for like a region, that's not going to have a value necessarily, like a number, like the sales or quantity number would. So to start, let's do something simple. Let's say we want to look at profit by state, because we had a state field name as well, so we can do that. So we'll just click here in the box for profit, and by clicking in the box, it'll automatically put it in the value section for any of them. So we'll click profit, and then we'll go up to state here in our field name, and see if I click here in the box, it'll put it in there, and then it's just counting up now up here the number of sales total within all states. And over here, this is the sum of the profit from sales in all states. So we don't want it organized like that. So now we're going to unclick the box state, and instead we will drag state down to the row. And now, as you see, it'll organize it like this. It'll organize it by state and the profit within each state. So that's a quick way to organize these large sets of data into something a little more manageable. So, and potential pitfalls of pivot tables are that way by having these field names in the wrong columns, which can manipulate the data in maybe a way that isn't as useful. So say we put state up here in columns. It's showing the same thing, but as far as visually, it doesn't work as well as it did when it was vertical. So we'll put it back here. And then to go further, say we want to know, let's see what else we could do. Say we could do postal code. So say we know within each state how much profit was made in each postal code. So then we'll drag postal code down here under state, and that will show us in Alabama these postal codes had this much profit. And you can switch around these two, so I could put postal code above state. There we go. And see, that doesn't work. I mean, it's still showing essentially the same thing, and the sum of all this will be the same, but the way it's organizing it, it's much bigger and longer and not ideal. So ordering it like this would be the much better way. So now let's go into something a little different. Say we want to know, and by clicking the box, check mark, it'll take it out of the box and you can start over. So let's do something maybe a little more. Let's ask a question. Okay, let's say we want to know how much sales were made to individual customers. Okay. So we would start then by clicking sales because that's the value we want. Sales. Okay, we have sales. Now we need customers here. So we'd go up to our customer. We could do customer ID or customer name. For this, I would say unless we had the customer ID, we might be searching by name. So we'll put name. Say we're searching by name. So we'll use customer name. So we have customer name and sales. So we add $886 in sales to Aaron Bergman. Okay, we could go in more detail now. What did we sell Aaron Bergman? So we can go find our product name and put that under customer name. And now it'll show us the products that we sold to Aaron Bergman and the amounts we sold them at, summing them right there. So that's pretty useful. We can look at how much we sold and what we sold. And we can do even more now. We could go, say we wanted to know, so we sold Arco stacking bins for $12, but did we sell more? How many did we sell? We just know we sold him some for that much. We can look at the quantity too by dropping the quantity in the value, and now it'll give us, so we sold $12.62 of bins to Aaron, and we sold him 2 of them. But now reading it across, that might not sound as good as maybe saying here by switching sum of sales to after quantity. So now we can read across as in we sold Aaron Bergman Arco bins, and we sold them 2 of them for $12. So this is how pivot tables can be used by manipulating data into these different ways to give you more information.